Your sales team isn't closing and you're sitting there going, is it the leads? Is it the reps? Is it the offer? Maybe, some of that's true, but I can almost guarantee you that there's stuff going on in your business, in your sales team right now, and there are things you're not even thinking about, and they are killing deals every single week, right? And most of it actually doesn't have anything to do with what's going on the call. Now, I've built and managed sales teams across multiple different niches, multiple different industries, and the same problems come up literally every single time. So I'm gonna run through each and every single one of them, what's actually going wrong and what to do about it. My name's Senan Campbell, I run Salesify, and we build and manage the full sales infrastructure for agency owners, coaches, service businesses. And so that's everything from, scripts, funnels, copy, team management, ops, tracking, the whole shebang. Everything I'm gonna talk about here, I've actually seen it firsthand. First one, and not many people talk about this, but your sales team isn't giving quality feedback to your marketing. Your marketing team, or you, if you're running ads or cold email or whatever that looks like, you're making decisions every single day. And so that's, what messaging to use, who to target, what creative to run, where to put the budget. Ultimately, what are you basing that on? You're basing that on the marketing metrics that you're seeing, right? So CPMs, click-through rates, cost per lead, cost per call, and none of that tells you what's actually happening once the lead gets on the phone. Your sales team knows that they're talking to these people every single day. They know why leads are unqualified, not just, the leads are shit. Specifically why, right? Budget, timing, they're uninformed, they're not the decision maker, wrong niche, they don't have a problem, whatever that looks like. They know also why deals aren't closing, whether that be the offer's not landing, the pricing doesn't match, the audience that you're specifically targeting, or maybe there's a competitor you don't even know about. They know as well why show rates are dropping, right? Leads booked too far out, the ads set the wrong expectation, they're not serious. Alongside that, they can feel the intent level of that specific lead, right? They know if someone booked because they generally want help or because, they clicked a button while scrolling. All of that needs to be going back to marketing, and that's not in a Slack message that says leads were bad today, right? It doesn't tell you anything. And that's through proper structured feedback, right? And so lead statuses with actual disqualification reasons attached. Weekly breakdowns of what objections are showing up the most, patterns in who's showing up and who's not. When marketing gets that, they can actually target the specific people that you're looking for and not the people who are coming into the funnel who aren't moving through it and purchasing at the end of the day. If your team isn't reporting back in a structured way, you are guessing you need to report back to your marketing team properly. The second reason, and this one's quite big, it's you don't have what's called back-end selling systems. Everything that happens between someone opting in or positively replying to an email or booking a call from them taking that call, that whole window, right? Most businesses, when someone books, they get, either a confirmation email or Calendly confirmation emails, whatever that looks like, then nothing. Everyone just, waits for the call to happen, right? That window between booking and the call is some of the most valuable time you have, and you're wasting it. Two things you need mainly are going to be a confirmation page and pre-call emails. Your confirmation page is someone books a call, they get redirected to what's called a confirmation page. What does it say, right? Thanks for booking, check your email for the details, one line, prospect's gone. That page should be doing serious work, right? 4 things need to be on that. One is very clear next steps, right? Tell them to, confirm the calendar invite now while they're on the page. Then set the environment. You need to tell them to show up somewhere quiet to make sure they've no distractions going on. They're not in their car, none of that shit. Give yourself the full time. I know that sounds, obvious, but the people who show up in their car at a coffee shop, kids going on mental in the background, we've all seen it. Those calls, they almost never close unless you're God tier close and you get trained by me. Not because, the offer's wrong or, their head's not in it, but they can't make a real decision in that setting, which you don't want. Number 2 is to reinforce the offer, right? Loads of prospects book off the back of one ad or a referral or an email. They don't really know what you do yet, who you are yet. So put something on that page, doesn't have to be long, that explains what you do, who it's for, what the outcome is, and you want them going into that call thinking, I know what this is, I know what this is all about. Not the opposite end of, I booked something the other day. What was it again? I don't remember what the fuck it was, right? We don't want that shit. Number 3 is breakout videos. Most people do not have these, or they're doing them completely wrong. And they're one of the most powerful things you can put on this page. Think about the objections your closers hear the most, but don't just do the usual ones such as, I need to think about it. They're not the ones that actually move the needle, right? You need to do some selling here. The main ones that I see do very, very, very well is, what's the worst case scenario? How does this actually work? Will this actually work for me? Those are the key ones that are going to really move the needle for you. Record these short videos, right? They're a minute or 2 each. One per objection, and each one acknowledges the doubt and ultimately reframes it, right? So when the closer hears that objection on the call, and sometimes they still will, right? The prospect's already heard that reframe. They've already started processing it, and the groundwork is already done. 3 to 4 videos typically is what you're looking for, right? You're trying to cover your top objections and you'll feel the difference straight away. Number 4 is client proof. And this is not a screenshot of someone going, this was great, 10 out of 10, don't get me wrong. A few of those screenshots are gonna do pretty well, but actual proof, which is client interviews on camera, right? People who look like the prospect were in the same situation and got the desired outcome that that lead or prospect is ultimately looking for. When someone watches that and they go, that's literally me, it worked for them, that does more for the close than anything your rep's going to say in the first ultimately 10 minutes, right? That is the confirmation page. Build it properly, your show rate changes. People who do show up are way warmer. Pre-call emails. Between the booking and the call, you should be sending, depending on your open rate, anywhere from 2 to 4 emails a day. Yes, I know a lot of people think, that's mental, they'll unsubscribe, they'll get pissed off, they don't want to show up to the call. The ones who unsubscribe, they were not going to buy your thing anyway. The people who actually want what you're selling will genuinely read every one, and that is because the emails are about what they're already thinking about, right? 3 types of emails you want to send out. Case study emails. 1 email, 1 story, and you're walking them through a real client, who they were, what was going on, what changed, and what the result was, right? And be specific. Tell them their name, their numbers, the timelines. We help coaches grow or something, some shit like that, right? That does nothing. Sarah went from, 12 grand a month to 41 grand in 60 days after we rebuilt her setter team. And the main things we did was X, Y, and Z. That's a different type of email. Objection handling emails, which is the same idea as the breakout videos, right? You take your most common objections, you address them. It's not defensive. It's just like, here's the concern, here's your reality. And by the time the prospect gets on the call, ultimately they've already sat with these. And then the last one is authority emails, right? Stuff that positions you as the person who knows what they're talking about, right? A specific insight, specific value, and a take that goes against what most people say, right? A breakdown of a mistake their audience is making, for example. These are not meant to be just selling directly. They're building trust so that the prospect already sees you as the person to listen to before the call starts. Proper confirmation page plus proper email sequence, right? The show rate goes up a lot, and the people who do show up are way easier to close, and that's what back-end selling systems do, right? They do the work before the closer gets on that closing call. Okay, third one, and this is obviously one of the big ones, which is mindset. Best leads, the best offer. It does not matter if your sales team's head isn't right. Absolutely none of this shit works. 2 reps, same lead, same offer, same script, one closing at 40% and the other at 12. The gap is not skill. It's how they think, how they act, what they believe about themselves. Do they externalize stuff? Things of that nature, right? These are the principles that I hold absolutely every single team and rep to. They're absolutely non-negotiable. 0 excuses, 0 cope, right? Everything else sits on this. If your sales team are coming on to calls with you and they're saying, oh, the leads are bad here, oh, I was busy yesterday and I couldn't do my end of day report, I don't want to hear any of that. It actually does my head in. I will never accept any excuses, any cope for them getting the outcome that they want. A second a rep starts saying the leads were bad today, they weren't serious, timing was off, they block off the path to actually reflecting on what they did, internalizing the result that they got. And then cope is the same thing, just basically packaged differently, right? I'm doing everything right. The numbers just aren't landing. It's a slow period. It feels like you're being, rational. You're not. It's avoidance. A rep at 0 excuses looks at the call, right? They look at what happened and they go, right, what am I doing differently next time? That's it. Move on. Confidence and belief. Every lead, every call, every day is 100% closable and you can close it. Let me tell you guys the actual statistical facts in this space. Based on the type of funnels that we all run, right? Whether that be a VSL, book a call funnel, webinar funnel, let's say you're doing cold emails, doesn't really matter. 10% of people pretty much will not buy no matter what you say. The other 10% of people probably will buy as long as you don't say some stupid shit. So that other 80% is fully within your control as a salesperson. And that's why I say to every single rep, and that's why I get them to believe it, every lead, every call, every day is closable. It's a fact. The reason we do this ultimately is a rep who believes every call is closable shows up completely different. They ask better questions, they have better transitions into the different, sequences of your closing call, and the close comes with weight behind it, right? Even if the deal doesn't land, they gave it everything. It's not delusion, it's full commitment, and it's no half effort on these calls. They truly walk into that call every single time knowing I can close this person, I will close this person. No resistance to feedback, right? This one tells you everything about a rep. If they take feedback personally, they feel like it's some sort of dig at them, right? They cannot grow, right? Every bit of feedback becomes something to fend against rather than, learn from. True winners love feedback. They go looking for it, and yes, sometimes, they do hate it too because they have some ego, right? But nobody wants to hear they fumbled a close, right? But the difference is what happens next, right? A top rep hears it, takes it on the chin, and comes in the next day going at it differently, right? A weak rep will spend the rest of the day feeling sorry for himself or externalizing the result that they got. And here's the other way to look at it. Perform at a level where there's not much to correct. That's the real move here, right? The best reps I've managed get less feedback, and that's not because I'm going soft, it's just less to say. Intensity. If you're not a bit outside of your comfort zone, you are not growing. Sales is not comfortable whatsoever. The calls are hard, the rejections are constant, you're hearing no all the time, and the pressure is real. And also, ultimately, you're getting paid on a full percentage basis, right? If you don't perform, you don't get money in your bank. I want reps who feel the stretch. They are slightly uncomfortable with the volume. They're trying things on calls that feel risky. They're pushing people maybe a little bit too hard on that closing call, right? That's where the improvement lives. Action over procrastination. This one's subtle, but it drains more momentum than you would realize. A rep saying something along the lines of, let me revise the script one more time. I want to re-listen to that, training before I jump on calls. Let me think about, a different approach. It sounds productive. It's not. You guys may or may not have heard of this already, but you need every single rep that you're ever working with to follow the principle of RGA, which means revenue generating activities. Within their working hours, let's say it's 9 to 5 EST, 9 to 8 EST, I don't know, whatever it is for you guys. You need your sales people to be focusing on revenue generating activities. Doing a call review, going to the gym, right, is not a revenue generating activity. They need to be hitting no-shows, doing follow-ups, actual actions that generate revenue, right? Not extra training or live call reviews, none of that crack. You need to be doing RGA. You need to drill this into your salespeople 24/7, that within their working hours, they do RGA, all the other stuff outside of their working hours. Micro wins, micro losses, right? This one is about momentum, right? And when a rep is on a downturn, such as, the calls aren't landing, the deals are falling through, whatever that looks like, the instinct is to look for a big win, to snap out of it, right? Close a big deal, have a great day, right? And that's the wrong approach. When things are going badly, big losses destroy you, right? They pile on. But small losses, a lead who doesn't pick up, a deal that was always a long shot, right? Those are fine. They don't wreck you. So you tighten the focus, right? Take lower stakes interactions, stop the bleeding through small stuff. And it works the same the other way, right? When things are going well, right? Micro wins build momentum. A solid discovery call, good follow-up, a lead that re-engages. You don't need 10 grand close to feel sharp, right? You need small wins stacking, right? Small win could be you show up on every single call at the right time every single day. It literally is as small as that, but you're never a minute late, right? That's a principle that I have for myself. You need those small wins. Do not leave momentum to chance, right? You want to manage it. Team enforced standards. This is what separates a good team from a great one. On most teams, the manager is the only one enforcing the standards, right? The manager checks the end of days, chases up when feedback is not being implemented. They call it out, when someone's slipping, right? That's fine, but in my opinion, it's not enough, right? On a proper, real, true sales team, they enforce the standards as well. Someone is not doing their end of days, teammate calls it out. Someone agreed to implement something and they're not, again, the teammate holds them to it. Someone's going against what the team fully agreed on. Again, the team says something. Exact same as a football team, right? Players not tracking back. You don't wait for the manager, half time. Their teammates, again, are absolutely on it, right? Because the standards belong to the team, not just the manager at the end of the day. And when the team owns the standard, it self-corrects, and that's worth more than any system or script than you can come up with. Internalizing versus externalizing. And this is the one I keep saying, the one I keep coming back to, such as, the leads are bad, that's external. What should they be asking is, am I doing everything I can with the leads I'm getting? The script doesn't work, again, external. The systems are bad, external. Am I actually delivering it with conviction? Am I adapting to it? These are questions you'd be asking again. Oh, these leads weren't serious, external. Did I build enough urgency? Did I find the real pain? Did I give them a reason to move forward today? Those are questions you need to ask yourself. When reps externalize, right, the problems are always just like somewhere else and it's not them, right? And if the problem's always somewhere else, they can never fix it and they can never internalize the issues and the results that they're getting. And when reps internalize, the problem's always something that they can work on themselves, right? And so listen to how your team talks about your calls that didn't close, the leads that are not booking a call. Are they pointing outward or are they looking inward as people, as reps? That will tell you everything. Now, the fourth reason, and it gets overlooked pretty consistently, which is your setters. Everyone is focused on the closers, but Setters are the front line, right? They're the first person a lead actually speaks to. And if that interaction's off, your closer is already behind before the call starts. Speed to lead is the biggest lever most businesses are sleeping on, right? Someone fills out a form, whether that be, they watch a VSL, they submit a type form, they haven't booked a call yet. Their intent peaks in that moment. Every 5-10 minutes that goes by, the intent drops. By next morning, they've moved on, right? They've spoken to somebody else, they've talked themselves out of it, they forgot about it, whatever that looks like. And if your setters aren't getting to leads within minutes, not hours, you are losing revenue before it ever touches a closer, right? Especially across time zones, right? One setter trying to cover, multiple different time zones means leads are just sitting there cold, which you can't have, right? You need to track it. And if you're not tracking your speed of lead right now, start today. Qualification. Are your setters actually qualifying or just booking calls? There's a massive difference between a setter who fills the calendar and one who fills it with people who can actually buy. If your closer is getting on calls with people who don't have the money, they aren't the decision maker, they don't understand the problem, they're uninformed, right? That's not a closing problem, that's qualification. And again, this goes back to one of my older videos that I spoke about. You need to have your setters on a commission structure that aligns them to, they make money if the closer closes the deal, right? They get paid on cash collected. You don't pay them when they book a call or some big base for doing nothing. They need to get paid when a closer closes the deal. Calendar quality over calendar quantity, and preach this all the time, right? A call that was never going to close is worse than just an empty slot, right? It wastes your closer time and it kills their momentum. Teeing up the closer, right? A good setter doesn't just book a call and disappear. They set the closer up, right? Detailed notes, the prospect's situation, what they're looking for, what concerns came up, their energy, how serious they seemed. When a closer gets on with proper notes, they can personalize it from the jump. I know you mentioned, you're dealing with X and you're looking for Y. Tell me more about that. That's a completely different opener than so what brings you on today. And that handoff as well between the setter and the closer is one of the most important moments in the whole process. Follow up. How persistent are your setters with no-shows and cold leads? Most try once, maybe twice, and then the lead gets binned, it gets lost in the CRM, right? That is money walking out the door, right? A no-show doesn't mean they're not interested. It means sometimes, they got busy, they forgot, something came up, and it's your setter's job to go back at them consistently until there's a clear answer one way or the other. Same with pipeline leads that went quiet. How many times is your setter reaching out before just giving up? Are they switching up the approach or just saying, hey, you still interested, question mark? You need to pull every lever, right? It's not dead until you've tried everything. If your sales team is not closing, it's almost never one thing. Usually it's a couple of different things stacked up on top of each other. Whether that be, no feedback into the marketing, the lead quality is off, there's no back-end selling systems, prospects showing up cold, the mindset of your sales team is wrong, whether that be there's actual reps underperforming on good quality leads, maybe there's setter problems, closer never had a real chance, right? The teams that close well have all of this tightened up. It's not always perfect, but it's just consistently working on it, right? The best sales processes in the world are getting consistently worked on day in and day out. Go through everything I just covered, right? Be honest and ask yourself, what are the holes? Which ones are you not doing to the fullest extent? Pick the biggest gap, right? Fix it this week, not next month. Do it today, this week. And if you want someone to come in and build this actually out for you, so that's, scripts, sequences, the systems, the team management, the rep recruitment, the tracking, that is what we do at Salesify, right? So the link is in the description. We build a full infrastructure in 30 days and we either hand it over to you or we stay on, we run it strictly from a performance basis, right? And so I'm Cinan Campbell. See you in the next one. Leave a like, leave a comment. Appreciate you.